All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. I am Eric Brandt for Blazers Uprise. I am joined by Rich Finley from Rip City Retro. It's been a while, Rich. How the heck are you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm still kind of getting set up. I was a little bit late. Sorry about that, folks. It's all my fault tonight. But things are good, man. I can kind of give people an update if people ultimately end up wanting that. But it was great for you guys to offer for me to help out. I'm always happy to jump on here and help out, and excited to talk about the Blazers not only tonight but the season up to this point.
All right, and like always, the Blazers Uprise post-game show is powered by BetUS. Please use BetUS for all your gambling needs. And later on, Tori will go more in depth on how you can get a deposit bonus and all that good stuff. BetUS is a really good sponsor of Blazers Uprise, so we'd really appreciate it if you check that out. Now, as for the game, Rich, the Blazers lose in San Antonio. Kind of a interesting game, I guess. The Blazers never really seem to get it fully clicked in this one. They play well at times. San Antonio's bench comes in and destroys us. I think they had over 60 points off the bench.
Shot the three really well too. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me people are saying my mic's quiet. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. But yeah, this game had just a weird flow to it. The Blazers get down, I think 7-2 early, fight back, take the lead. Anthony Simons, I think, had 3 lob dunks to Ayton in the first half, which was pretty good. Yeah, here we go. Is that better, guys? Is that better? Did I fix it? I think that's what I did last time. Hopefully that's better. It's probably really loud now. Yeah, all right, cool. Sorry, everyone. I'll put it a little further away now. But yeah, the Blazers, so they take the lead, and then it was kind of back and forth. San Antonio took a 12-point lead, I think, at one point in the first quarter. And then Blazers fight back, cut it to 3. And then, unfortunately, the Spurs hit a couple threes, push it to 9. And then in the second half, the Blazers just had a few lulls where they got down double digits, clawed their way back to 5, I think, either towards the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. And then just couldn't get any closer to that, couldn't make that final push to take the lead, and unfortunately go down in this one. When I look at what happened in this game, Rich, a couple of things really stand out. I already mentioned the bench points. I think it was 61-31.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, so they had a lot of really nice performances off the bench. Keldon Johnson, Malachi Branham, Zach Collins all came in and kind of pushed the tempo, changed this game. The other thing is Blazers shoot 28% from 3. Just could not hit enough threes in this game. Meanwhile, San Antonio hits over 40% from 3. It's difference of they hit 7 more threes than us and hit a higher percentage. And that's one of the main reasons I think we lost this game. The other is the Blazers have actually done a really good job in terms of scoring points of the paint this year, especially in their wins. It's a category they've dominated. At one point, I don't know if they still were going into today, but at one point they were the number 1 team in the league in points in the paint. And they have 54 tonight, which is okay, or pretty good for them, I guess. But give up 50, so it wasn't a huge advantage like it has been in some of their wins where they completely dominate the paint. And a lot of that had to do with our off-ball defense in this game, Rich, was completely terrible. We had several defenders just fall asleep off-ball and give up a wide-open lay-in off a cut because they were not paying attention or tried to jump a dribble handoff and got fooled because the player didn't go for a dribble handoff. And so that led to a lot of easy baskets by San Antonio, especially when their bench came in and started pushing it. But I thought for the most part, the Blazers did a really nice job on Victor Wembanyama. He had a couple of tough runner threes, one in transition, one off a screen. I mean, there's nothing you can do about a 7'4" guy who can put the ball on the floor and pull up for a 3-point shot. So I don't think you can really fault them for giving up a couple threes. You just got to hope he misses those. But all in all, to give up, what do you have, 12 and 8 or something like that? I mean, if you told me that before the game, I would absolutely take that for Wemby. He did affect the game defensively. You could tell some of our players were a little afraid to shoot the ball in the paint. But the other factor in this game, the story of the game, was Sharp's return. I thought he looked great. Looked very smooth out there. Comes out, hits two of his first 3 shots, including a nice pull up in the paint, about a free throw line jumper. He also hit a 3, and then I think he finished 6 of 9 from the field, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's about as good as we could have hoped for. Had a putback dunk in the second half. That's pretty much all we could hope for from Sharp. What did you think of his performance tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it was first and foremost, it was just great to see him back out on the court. And obviously in a situation like tonight, his stat line really isn't all that important. What you're really looking for is how is he moving, what his comfort level is, that kind of thing. So I thought in terms of all of those kind of benchmarks that you're looking for, especially with a team that is trying to develop and so on and so forth, I thought he was great tonight. I loved everything that I saw from Shaden tonight.
Yeah, and one of his misses was like a half-court shot. So I don't think. I mean, I'll take it. You eventually want him to hit 3-pointers and stuff, but I wasn't really worried about his percentage tonight. But I just was more curious how he looked, and I thought he looked really smooth. It didn't look like he was hesitant at all to go for the ball or do anything. It seemed like he was comfortable with the way his shoulder felt. And, I think that's the most important takeaway from this game. I mean, it would have been nice to win it, but I think if we get Sharp back feeling comfortable and playing well, and I don't know how much longer he's going to come off the bench, but we'll have to get your thoughts on that. But for right now, I think it's nice to just have that scoring punch off the bench, and I'm really happy with the way he played tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of, you feel bad for the kid for kind of having these freak injuries that have happened. So he came back much faster than I anticipated. I don't know about you. But I was just, I mean, like I said, there's not really much I can say about his return tonight. He had a really nice pass in the fourth quarter, catching, I forgot who he caught rolling to the rim, but it was just a really nice pass, and it's not exactly a super rusty play, So, I mean, like I said, I'm just super excited that he's back, and we can really start to evaluate what we have.
Yeah, absolutely. As for the rest of the team, Tamani unfortunately goes 0 for 3 from 3, 2 for 7 from the field, his worst shooting performance of the season. I think he was kind of due to have a bad shooting game, but I think he shot all 3 of them in the first half, and he got some good looks at it, just didn't quite get him to fall. Jeremy Grant was also 1 for 4, Abdia 1 for 3, Simons 3 for 9, Sharp 1 for 4. Scoot was 1 for 2. That was good. Repair missed his only shot in 8 minutes. Klingon missed a corner 3. Interesting to see him shoot that. In general, what do you think of the way the Blazers are using their young guys right now, with Klingon only playing 12 minutes tonight? Scoot's been coming off the bench. He was getting starter level minutes earlier in the season, but as it's gone on, it's kind of tallied off. Only 20 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
They mixed Banton in a little bit. He plays 16 minutes. Didn't have the fourth quarter heroics in this one, but 1 for 8 from the field from him. Not very good. Klingon, like I said, only plays 12 minutes. Sharp plays 20 minutes in his return. I'm totally comfortable with him working his way back slowly. 20 minutes seems like a perfect number for right now. It's probably a minutes restriction there of 20 minutes, so I'm guessing they hit that number right on the spot. But in particular, with Klingon only playing 12 minutes, and this has been a theme most of the year, and Scoot's minutes kind of decreasing as the year has gone on. What are your thoughts just in general on how the Blazers are developing those two this season?
I mean, to a certain extent, it's good to keep perspective that we're just 9 games in, right? Yeah. 9 games in, excuse me.
For sure.
But and I think Scoot coming into tonight was averaging about 25 minutes per game. Obviously, tonight's game is going to dip him down a little bit more. Klingon is the big one to me. He's the one that I don't want to necessarily call it egregious, but I just really want to see the kid get more minutes. I mean, what is he, right at about 5 or 6 rebounds a game and almost 2 blocks per game, playing 13 minutes a game?
Yeah.
I would like a bigger sample size, but at the same time, it's not even 10 games in yet. So perfectly happy to be patient. If you had told me Scoot was shooting a higher percentage than 3 of our starters, I would have been super stoked.
Yeah.
Coming into the season.
Or really worried about 3 of our starters.
I mean, well, right. So tomato, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, I would want to just continue to, not worry about the record, which, by the way, I think I said this to you over the phone. This was just kind of a workmanlike loss. I mean, we've had a couple of blowouts early this season, especially playing teams like Golden State and Oklahoma City. But these losses feel a little different, like at least to me. I've had some issues with necessarily being able to watch all of the games, and we can kind of unpack that a little bit when I kind of update people. And maybe we should do that here in a couple minutes real quick, because I might it might make more sense to people about my appearance tonight if we can kind of get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I just want to see the young guys as much as possible. I hate to see kind of the yo-yoing of guys. Like I like, especially for young guys, for them to have a reasonable expectation of what kind of minutes they're going to get and all of that. I mean, it helps your comfort level. It helps your confidence. And it's just overall better for your development. I don't like the yo-yoing back and forth, but that's just me.
Yeah, and like you said, we'll see as the season goes on. But, Chauncey had... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Chauncey had the... I wouldn't call it an advantage, but he had the injury excuse for earlier in the season, so like there wasn't any kind of, well, this player didn't play at all, or how do you mix Banton in because Sharp's back and all that kind of stuff. Robert Williams has been healthy now for 2 games, has not seen the court in either of those games, does not play again tonight. So as we get more players back, it becomes like, are they just going to keep playing the same rotations they were playing before, or is it going to be kind of a game by game who's playing well type of thing, or because I really have no idea what to do with Robert Williams right now. I think you probably have to show that he's capable of playing in an NBA game at some point based on his injury concerns if you're looking to move him at some point.
Robert Williams is kind of like my mom's really good jewelry. Like my mom is 86, and she's got really good jewelry, but she never takes it out, and It's in all this protective wrap. and she likes to unspool it every now and then and look at it, but then quickly put it away.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how we're probably treating Robert Williams. We don't want to hurt anything.
Right. The minute you bring it out and take it out to a nice dinner, you're gonna catch it on some sort of thing, and it's gonna break. Right. It's gonna snap.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the other problem is, do you even want to risk playing him or just have him be a healthy scratch right now? Because if he comes in and gets hurt again, I mean, I don't think he has much trade value right now anyway. I mean, I don't even know if they're looking to move him, honestly. I haven't heard anything regarding him. I think they would definitely be open to it if they got something of value back. But I don't think they're just going to be like, oh, we don't want him on the roster anymore. We're just going to give him away either. So they're kind of in this weird spot with him. But I do think Klingon needs these minutes to learn on the fly. I don't think Klingon's the type of guy you just want playing no minutes and not learning how to use his body in an NBA game. I think he can soak up all these minutes and learn from them. So I don't know how they're going to do it moving forward. And now they have a glut of guards if you're playing Banton 16 minutes. And unfortunately, that probably means Repair is out of the rotation, which is unfortunate.
Which I hate.
Yeah, because his development has been really pleasant to watch. But yeah, I mean, Matt Cardell says let's not injure Klingon, and I agree. You don't want to
totally agree.
You don't want to do it, but I mean, what he's playing, like you said, 13 minutes a game or something.
Yeah.
His per 36 numbers look really nice. Not saying
we have to play him 36.
Yeah, I don't know if it's you find some minutes at the floor for Robert Williams to just come in 10 minutes a game or something, but unfortunately we don't really have the minutes for it. So, I mean, at some point in the season, we'll hopefully address the glut of players we have that all deserve minutes and kind of shorten the rotation. Or, knowing the Blazers, we're a game or two away from another injury that clears up the rotation just by that, knock on wood. But yeah, I don't really know how to handle it, and I think it's going to be a factor in a lot of these games. I mentioned at the top, the Blazers just never seem to get in a good flow of this game. They were always kind of scratching and playing hard and stuff outside of the falling asleep off ball, but it kind of was settling into a nice, okay, this is your role on the team right now. And now that we have players coming back, it's like Banton's sitting there, well, I didn't come in with the first rotations, and then he gets put in at the end of the second or towards the end of the second quarter. It's just kind of weird. You're sitting there on the bench wondering, is this a game I don't play at all? Am I going to go in the fourth quarter like I have the last couple games? Repair same way, plays in the first half. I don't know if he got in for a minute or two in the second half or not, but it couldn't have been very much if he did. But yeah, it's I don't know if it's best to have an 11-man rotation or whatever they're doing for rhythm purposes either.
It's really odd when one of your strengths is depth,
right?
But you're not
too deep
super. You're not super talented and ready to win either.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's kind of a weird place to be at right now.
I mean, and that's something that Cronin and Billups have both talked about multiple off seasons, is wanting kind of healthy competitions at all positions. But unfortunately right now, I mean, I hope Sharp comes in and sets himself apart from some of these questions. But right now, you don't really have players where outside of saying, oh, this guy's young, we should definitely give him minutes. It's not like you could be like, oh, he has to play over this guy because he's playing that much better than him, right? It's all just, it's like 9 guys that are all playing kind of okay-ish and good at times, but struggling at times too, which is fine for the second youngest team in the NBA. But no one's really just taken this team and been like, okay, this is for sure the guy at this position. Outside of maybe Tamani, I'm like, I think he's the only guy. I know he wasn't great tonight, but he's the only guy who has consistently been solid and provided what he needed for his role every game this season. But outside of that, I can't say one guy has definitely earned a starting spot or 30 minutes a game or anything like that. It's all just kind of, okay, well, let's see what you have tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It's just kind of. I also think that it's a little difficult for guys to kind of fall into those spots when you're, for lack of a better term, your definitive team leader is not really defined. And so like one guy, one voice who is kind of keeping everything moving in one direction, then it can kind of feel like guys are kind of scattered and not really sure of what their role is. Not only in terms of the minutes that the coaching staff is going to give them, but in terms of their accountability to their teammates, to the team captain, so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for those, Rich, that don't know you, this is Rich.
I apologize.
He has a channel called Rip City Retro. Him and I started that channel a couple of years ago, and unfortunately for Rich, he hasn't been able to post much on that channel lately. So I'm sure there's a lot of people in chat wondering how you're doing, and like give us an update on your health and all that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of people that care a lot about you, Rich, and just want to know how you're doing.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say, okay, that's nice of you to say that there's a lot of people that care about my health. There's a lot more people that care about us talking about the Blazers, so I'm not going to take up too much time. But
as you proceed to go on for like 20 minutes and just ramble.
Sure.
No,
yeah. No, I'll keep it brief. I feel it's super important to say one part of this towards the end. But anyway, so as Eric said, I haven't really been able to post a lot of stuff to Rip City Retro, and for people here, which basically the entire subscription over Rip City Retro is made up of Blazers Uprise folks. And by the way, so many of you said hi in the chat and or made a couple of comments to me, stuff like that. So it's great to see all you guys. And sorry I can't respond by typing in the chat, but all of you guys, it's great to see you. And I was so excited when I had the opportunity to come on here and say hi to everybody. So over the summer, I had 2 major surgeries, and I'm doing fine. I'm kind of rehabbing through that and stuff like that. But earlier this year, and really towards the end of last year, I started having some trouble with my brain. Now, if you've watched my channel, you probably already knew this. But all kidding aside, I started having some trouble with my brain and some issues, of kind of stalling out and processing issues and things like that. So it's been a little harder for me to be more steady with doing videos on the channel. So I'm currently taking medication, trying to get the situation figured out. I just did a bevy of like scans and tests and stuff like that. So we're trying to get to the bottom of it. So I wanted to say that, not for people's sympathy, but if I seem a little different, or it's a little hard for me to concentrate, or I'm not like totally cracking jokes like I always did, stuff like that. I mean, I'll try to and just be normal, but if I seem like weird or off or whatever, I apologize. I'm doing the best I can. I knew when Eric said, hey, do you want to help out with tonight's episode? Like something like this is probably going to wipe me out for a couple of days. Quite frankly, as silly as that may sound, it's just talking basketball. But it's going to really wear me out. But I wanted to come on here and do it because I miss everybody, and I miss like making videos and having people comment and stuff like that. And my goal is to, get this situation taken care of and get righted and get back to making more regular videos, and you and I doing long form discussions about days gone by and stuff like that. So all of that to say, I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. And if tonight's Rich is not like what you're used to, if you liked that, I apologize. But maybe this version is a little bit better. So that's it. No more rambling. But so that's my update. But it's great. It's great to be here with you. I appreciate the honor of letting me co-host tonight, and it's great to see everybody in chat.
Kyle says Blazers are so bad it's literally physically affecting Rich.
Yes, yes, it's giving me brain damage.
It's not your health problems. It's just the Blazers.
They're pretty, but they're interestingly enough, that's very funny. And keep the jokes coming, please. I can totally take it. They're actually pretty enjoyable. Like they're pretty scrappy. Like I enjoyed the hell out of the Phoenix game the other night. Like totally enjoyed it. So. Even in games where we're not winning, I think I told you over the phone earlier tonight, we are not in a soul-sucking situation in terms of our competitiveness and things like that. So I'm happy.
Yeah, it's been bad. Even though we have the same record through this many games last year, it feels better. I don't know. I mean, we still have Chauncey as coach. Hopefully. By next season, that's something that we have some fresh ideas and a fresh coach in here. But I think it's...
Hang on. Elizabeth Allen asked me a question. And if anybody else asked me a question, I'm sorry if I miss it. Eric, try to catch it and mention it. But Elizabeth's question just caught my eye. I said, Rich, how many of the movies you worked on did Diddy have a party for? That is fascinating. None.
But
damn it!
How many Diddy movies have you got, or Diddy parties have you attended?
None that I know about. I do have a brain injury, so I mean, I can go ahead and say that. Yeah. That's my excuse. This is my what do you call it? This is my alibi tape or whatever. But
hey, Rich.
But anyway,
I know it's hard for you to go on Twitter nowadays, but one of the trendy things outside of the obvious Tuesday stuff, one of the trendy things this week was streamers talking about how their job is harder than a 9-to-5 job. So you coming on and streaming is just it's really difficult work. So you're just, it's not your health condition. It's just that streaming is so hard of a job.
It's just so exhausting. No, for me, like the issues I'm talking about are, how the strain on my eyes and how it's kind of wearing me out, and the editing and all that stuff. It's not the work of streaming is hard. It's just I'm dealing with faulty equipment. Yeah. Kind of like when I started the channel, I was dealing with faulty computer equipment. Now I'm dealing with faulty equipment within myself, but it is what it is. So, yeah. And hi, Blue Wolf. I saw Blue Wolf say hi, so it's good to see you too.
For the record, I mean, streaming is can be difficult, and there's a lot more
time consuming
coming on and streaming and stuff. But I mean, for people that, especially like huge platforms on Twitch or YouTube, to come on and they stream for a couple hours a few times a week and make thousands of dollars just based on how many subscribers they have, and then get to sleep 20 hours a day and do nothing. Like, come on, man. That's like I don't know. I don't know. I almost feel like these are more, the streams for me are more relaxing and therapeutic than anything. So no, I totally agree. It's why I miss it so much. So but hopefully soon I'll get, like I said, situated and all that good stuff. Yeah. So let's get to some questions in chat. Wait, I'm sorry. Adam is that Smits asked a question. Side note, Health Nut thinks, Rich, have you heard of astaxanthin for brain support and R-alpha lyopic acid goes through blood-brain barrier, strong antioxidants? That first and foremost, wow, that's a mouthful.
But second of all, no, I haven't. I can't even. I mean, my two prescriptions that I have, I don't even have them here with me. The doctors were like, take these lying in bed. So, and trust me, they mean it. So they kind of knock me right out. But I will. I'll make a note to go back in the chat and take those down and look into those. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, it would have been really funny if Adam Smith just made up some funny names because you totally would have read off whatever he put there.
Oh,
so
yes, it is an Anchorman situation.
He could have done like some really funny thing, and you would have just rattled it off. And
Rich, have you tried D's nuts? No, I have not.
Yeah, no, I know you totally could have gotten him though, Adam. That would have been epic.
That would have been pretty funny.
Yeah. But yeah, Johnny says, "Hey, Rich, I'm a Kings fan. Do you get nosebleeds?"
Do I get nosebleeds? A
Yeah.
Kings fan too? Oh! You're an LA Kings fan because I live in Los Angeles. I'm in the belly of the beast. I think.
No, he's a Sacramento Kings fan.
Sacramento Kings fan.
Yeah.
So do I get nosebleeds?
I don't know what that has to do.
That might have to do with the brain stuff.
Johnny just likes to mention every stream that he's a Kings fan. Don't worry about it.
Okay. No, but if that's a health thing, no, I don't really get nosebleeds. But I'm so glad that you brought up that question because I'm gonna tell on my girlfriend here. So my girlfriend, somebody at her work, when we first started dating, she knew I was a big basketball fan, and she came to me, and somebody at her work had offered her tickets to a game. I don't know what it was, Lakers, Clippers, whatever. And they said, "Do you want these tickets?" And then Ann called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to go to a game tonight? This guy at my work said he's got 2 tickets, and he said they're really great seats. They're nosebleeds." And I was like, "What?" She said, "Yeah, they're great seats. They're nosebleeds." He said they're nosebleed seats. And I was like, "What do you think that means?" And then she said, "Well, they're nosebleed seats because you must be sitting close to the action because you might get hit with the ball and get a nosebleed." I was like, "That is not what that means." So that has always been a running joke with us about nosebleed seats.
Nice.
But to answer your question, no, I do not get nosebleed.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of random.
He mentioned nosebleeds. It's actually a perfect sequitur, actually.
Dro says, "Do I still have season tickets?" Dro, I've never had season tickets. My mom, however, has season tickets up in the 300 section, and she still does have those. So yeah, that's what going to Blazer games is. What is one of her things in life that she enjoys, which is awesome.
Your mom said hi in the chat. So hi, Charlene. It's good to see you too. Thank you.
And yeah, she was just here putting my kids to bed. So good stream. So I appreciate that, Mom. Thank you. Yeah, because my wife works overnights on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So she's not home right now. But yeah. But yeah, my mom's a huge Blazer fan, and obviously, if I want to go to any game, I can just say, "Hey, Mom, can I go to the game next Wednesday?" You know, so it's kind of a really cool thing that I get to share with my mom. Our love for the Blazers. So yeah. Aeromancer, who doesn't even like football, says y'all are missing a great Thursday night football game.
Oh, that's right. It's the Bengals and Ravens, right?
Yeah. Do you have any... So, tying this back to BetUS, Rich, you're a degenerate gambler. Do you have any money on any games tonight?
No, not at all.
You didn't have any bets?
No. We're in what Richie calls a down period. It's a pause right now. No, it's a pause.
Reset your financial situation.
maybe a little bit. But somebody said, Rich, have you ever had a? No, 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 I don't trust that, Zach. I'm not saying anything else.
The moments passed. We lost
that looks
that
like a
opportunity.
trap.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had to open your big mouth.
Yeah.
I would have
you would have totally fallen for Zach's thing. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
What were we talking about? My degenerate gambling rule. Always look at overs because you might get overtimes.
Yeah.
And that's my thing.
So I've been begging Rich, he probably doesn't think I'm begging, but I've been asking him to share more of his gambling stories with me or picks with me just because I'm so fascinated by it. But every once in a while he'll just send me a text. Like a few weeks ago he sent me this 10-team parlay with all these overs and stuff that he was gonna bet on. And I'm just like,
I missed that.
Dude.
I missed that one by one.
Yeah, and then
I was very upset.
It's been a while, but you were just like, now that we're into college basketball season, you were like, I have money on this Hawaii Long Beach State game, the over and the second half over or something, just something funny like that. So.
Oh yeah, it's totally.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you think about Wyoming and SMU second half? Just random stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
So let's take a look at the box score a little bit closer from this game. Just go through each player. Blazers had some decent performances. Let me get to the game.
You do that. I'm gonna situate something on this side, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, actually, that was quicker than I thought.
I see Lamar Jackson throws his 4th touchdown of the night as Ravens take a late lead.
Oh. Did we ever ask chat how y'all doing out there? Huh, chat?
How is everyone in chat doing this evening?
How is everybody? How are you doing?
Thank you for joining us, everyone. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but Tori is supposed to join us in a little bit. Michael's chilling in Portland watching this. Sean's good. Gabe's fantastic. What's up, Gabe? Crime Stop is doing good. Eric Olson's doing good. Eric Olson talked to a female, so that's always good.
Hey.
Brendan's chilling. What's up, Brendan?
Johnny, you clarified that. Yeah, totally fine. Yep. It didn't sound like you were joking. I just wanted to make sure I understood.
Rich, did you happen to catch the Klingon block on Wemby in the lane?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
No.
He just kept really good positioning.
Okay.
He's still.
I'll have to.
He's still getting caught when he's just a step behind the play, like pulling his arm down and reaching for the ball a little too much. And he's kind of getting foul baited a little bit, but other than that, I think like I said, it should be a good learning experience for him. All right, so we already talked about Kamara. He went 2 for 7. Did have 9 rebounds, which is good. 3 offensive, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. Yeah, not the best game from him, fortunately. Jeremy Grant scores 21 points off only 10 shots. You like to see that. 6 of 10 from the field. Only had 3 rebounds and 1 assist, 2 turnovers once again. So that's 2 players with 1 assist and 2 turnovers. Don't like to really see that. Abdia, 3 for 5 from the field, but 2 for 5 from the line. 9 points. Did have 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Had that one I don't know if he's ever going to live that one down. That was one of the worst. I mean, not one of the worst because I mean, there's the um, Otto Porter Jr. one, the Shacked a Fool, where he's just stuck there and his guy cuts and he doesn't realize it for a while. But Avdia got burnt really bad on that one, and part of the game I was listening to the Spurs feed, and they were really talking about that. Like 10 minutes later, they were still talking about it. Ayton goes 10 for 15 in this one. Did hit a 3 in the first half. Did pull down 10 rebounds for his double-double. No assists, 2 turnovers, though. I thought he was doing a fairly decent job of rolling to the rim in the first half. Like I mentioned, I think they got 3 lobs with him and Anthony in the first half, so it was good to see that. But as the game went on, I felt like he kind of faded back into shooting mid-range and didn't quite take it in there. Anthony plays 33 minutes, goes 7 of 16 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3, has 7 assists to 3 turnovers. Had one really nice steal and pass on the break. Just kind of an okay game from him.
Yeah.
19 points overall. Scoot plays 20 minutes off the bench, goes 5 for 12, has 3 assists to 2 turnovers. He had his moments in this game, but he seems like he's kind of back to trying to figure some stuff out. And this game is a little hard to tell because he's had success against teams that don't really have a lot of rim protection. And that's something that the Blazers have been really good protecting the rim this year. I mentioned the points in the paint differential for them being very good most games. But I think in the first half they were 15 of 16 at the rim, and a lot of that was because we gave up open ones. But that's not a number. Chauncey mentioned it after the game. It's not something that he wants to see at halftime, giving up that many uncontested shots. And then, I want to ask you, Rich, how are you feeling at this point in Scoot's career about him overall? I know it's very polarizing for Blazer fans, both him and Anthony. Just how do you feel about Scoot's progression and how he's played to start the season?
Look, I'm still trying to make fetch happen, Eric. I want to make it happen. I still have concerns, which we always try to say, concerns is not slanderous. It's just concerns. I kind of look at it like he's been fine, and that may sound like a pejorative, but I don't necessarily mean it that way. I think he's been fine. I think we're still kind of, waiting to see if this is a situation where once we get 20 games in, 30 games in, do things start to click a little bit more for him? But just in terms of evaluating what he's done to this point, certainly you would like to see the shooting numbers be higher. I would like to see him be getting more minutes. But for what we've gotten so far, it hasn't been bad. It hasn't been great. It's just been fine to this point. Mm-hmm. And I know that's kind of a middling answer, but
he's had his moments this year. But
that's also appropriate.
Right, he's had his moments this year. Looks like he's improved some things to his game. But you're right, it's also kind of still, what Scoot are you going to get at times? And that's okay. I mean, he's still young. It's not a negative thing in any way. But yeah, I think hopefully, this is a learning process for him. I don't necessarily think 5 for 12, 1 for 2. I'll take those numbers from him, at least right now. I mean, hopefully in the future he's a little better shooting than 4 for 10 on 2-point shots. But
let me flip the question back to you. Taking statistics out of it, okay? So like shooting percentages and all that kind of stuff. How are you feeling about what you're seeing within Scoot in terms of form, in terms of comfort level, all of that stuff? Like, how are you feeling about what you see when you're watching?
Well, I feel a lot better about it than I did last year. I do feel like he's still learning not to be like a bull in a china shop type.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's so strong and his physique, is like he's just I don't know. It feels like he's ready, like physically, to dominate games. It's more for me. I don't think the mental part of the game is caught up, and that might be a good thing because once it does, like maybe he can start using that to happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm fine with like I haven't had huge issues with him. Anything he's been doing. I mean, he loses the ball occasionally, throws an occasional bad pass, but uh, so does pretty much everyone on our team at some point. Like we're all kind of turnover prone at times. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't really. I'm kind of indifferent, just still kind of waiting for him to either break out or or not because like I don't know. I mean, this is his baseline, like right. He even if he never improves, is still an NBA player, I guess. But like,
100%. Like I think we're, any of the crazy calls of bust and things like that. I think we're far beyond that now. Like we're in serviceable NBA player territory now, and that's a floor, right?
mhm.
So, um, it's just a matter of how far beyond that can he go. Let me ask you this question about the bull in the china shop kind of thing. What do you think about him potentially being encouraged to just kind of experiment more with that to see what he can do? In other words, you see what I'm saying? Like, even don't worry about the mistakes, but if that kind of reckless abandon could kind of unlock something for him, um, and maybe build his confidence a little bit more, as opposed to him necessarily trying to, for lack of a better term, make the professional correct play every time. I'm not necessarily like suggesting he become Westbrook or something like that in terms of his reckless abandon, but do you think there would be any kind of merit to just maybe taking the guardrails off just a little bit to see if he could maybe uh cause a little bit more chaos out there?
I actually kind of feel the opposite. I think. I
Okay,
think. I
that's
think
fair.
when you're young and learning the game, you don't want to be reckless and
Okay,
crazy. I think
that's
you
fair.
want to be more um, kind of like calm and more of a just like a steady, solid run the offense. I've said this on many streams. I, I would almost rather him have the I'm a pass first point guard. I'm going to pass every time, even if I'm passing up a good shot. I'm going to try to get my teammates going because I think he's that good of a passer. And then
Hmm.
as that becomes like an elite skill, then all of a sudden scoring becomes easier. And then once you learn, when it's time to take it 1-on-3 or when it's time to kick out to a shooter, when you have to pull up and shoot the mid-range shot versus drive into traffic against a guy like Wemby. Once you learn all that kind of stuff, and it's stuff that like you never fully learn because I mean all that stuff is hard even for stars. Um,
Yeah.
I think once you like have a comfortable sense of the game, then you say, okay, now just go be yourself and go turn it on. And so, like, I'm not saying to like limit him or like hold him back or anything. I just don't necessarily just want him being out like, okay, go just do whatever you want. Like I kind of want him to learn how to play within an offense first. And this is the problem with having what's most likely a lame duck coach too, is because like they're going to have to learn whole new schemes and sets and terminate terminology and stuff like that next year. So like that may hopefully it doesn't set any of the young guys back at all. But like for now, I would much rather him just be learning how to be a point guard and then turn him loose and be chaotic once he has that down and can then use that chaos as like I might be like look like I'm out of control, but I have a firm grasp on what I'm doing.
That's fair. No, it totally makes sense, and it's very fair. And your answer is actually the more basketball responsible answer. I'm just
right.
I'm just trying to think, since victories are not important right now, and trust me, I wouldn't want to see Scoot. You know, when I talk about how much I think he could thrive in chaos, it's not necessarily from a standpoint of him being offensively aggressive, looking for his own shot, but I think this goes back to a tempo thing that we've talked a little bit about in the past, right? Like I think the faster we are, the more that he can be in tempo, and I kind of look at it like, I mean, not to pull like a name like from way back in the past or whatever, but you know, when Clyde first came to the Blazers, I mean, he was a freak athlete, right? And Clyde's different because he's 6'7" and all of that kind of stuff. But he became a good basketball player. But what they did with him early in his career is they let him kind of thrive off his athleticism, et cetera, et cetera. Now the Blazers early in his career were perennially a playoff team. He wasn't the main focus of the offense. He ended up becoming that by about, I think, the third season of his career. And Scoot is in a bit of a different situation. You know, we're not a perennial playoff team, so on and so forth. So it's not an apples to apples comparison, but just in terms of when you have somebody who is such an impressive athlete, built so stout like that, you know, the technical basketball stuff, like, yes, that can come, but let's also not necessarily stifle what brought him to the dance in the first place. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So that's my concern, but I completely understand yours. And like I said before, it's the more responsible way to approach. I don't know. I'd like to see him unleash just a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have any problem with running an up-tempo offense and pushing the pace and seeing.
Oh, clearly you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's one way to get him to kind of do both, where he learns how to run a team, but as an up-tempo team and using that speed and athleticism and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I get both sides of it, because, like, a lot of people in chat are saying he needs to just get the keys to the point guard position and learn that way. I'm kind of, I mean, I'd be fine with that. Like, sure, like, might as well see what you have in him. But at the same time, I still think he needs to prove that he's worthy of us moving a bunch of people to just give him the keys too, instead of just like handing it to him. But yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with the way they're using him right now. I am not fine with him playing 20 minutes, though. I think he needs to play more than 20 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Adam Smith says Scoot is a willing and capable passer and can play off Scoot's dribble drive kicks. Yeah, and that, I don't think it's looked as bad as people thought it would be with them playing together this year. I think it's been fine. I don't know. It's just it's weird because there's I don't know. There's some games where Scoot comes in, and it's not necessarily Scoot, so I don't mean to like single him out. It's a lot of players. There's just like some games it just seems like they're kind of just going through the motions and or kind of just don't have it that night. And I think Scoot in this game in particular did a good job of like kind of snapping out of it at some point because in the first half it seemed like he was going to just have one of those games where he wasn't really a factor.
Yeah.
But I felt like he kind of calmed down a little bit. But the question is, how do you prove Scoot can start unless he starts at a certain point? So my point isn't whether he could start or not. I'm just saying, like, I would hope that he takes on the challenge of dominating, or not necessarily dominating, but playing well in the role he currently has before moving on to just giving him more of a role. You know what I mean? So, like, tonight, for example, the bench gets outscored 61-31, and I'm in no way saying it's all Scoot's fault. It's not. I mean, it's all on the whole team and the coaching staff and all that kind of stuff. But I would like to see him be like, I want to come in and make sure next game that we do not lose the bench battle. I'm coming off the bench. I'm gonna like make sure the other bench doesn't outplay us and stuff like that. Just things like that. And then we don't get to see practices and things like that, but you do have to wonder when Banton's getting 16 minutes and Scoot's getting 20 off the bench, is this a situation where Scoot's not earning those minutes in practice, or is there something he's doing, not necessarily in the doghouse, but is he and once again, as Tori says, that how is that on Scoot though? I said it is not on Scoot. I just want him to have that mentality of that and hopefully get better. So I don't know what the right answer is. I totally understand people saying just give him everything right now. He's the third pick and he's what you build your rebuild around. So like give him every opportunity to succeed. That's fine too. I don't know if that's necessarily the right thing to just throw him out there. I think what was happening earlier in the season where he was playing 30 minutes off the bench is fine for right now. Like I think he was doing well with that. His only I don't understand him getting less minutes as the season goes on. Like his role's getting lesser, not increasing like it should. So like I totally get why people are frustrated and think that maybe starting would change that because it would. I don't know why his role is being decreased as the season goes on. It just doesn't. Something's not adding up, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what would be nice is in this role of coming off the bench, if you know how certain players who run a second unit and when they're like when you have an elite second unit guy, and by elite second unit guy, I don't necessarily mean that this is a starter, but a player who like when they come in the game, the entire game changes. The energy of the game changes. It's like, Jamal Crawford or a Leandro Barbosa, that kind of like, oh, the game is like completely jumping up a notch now. Like this particular unit is being led by this guy, and he's gonna take this game in a slightly different direction for his period of time that he's coming in for. Now, I'd love to see like an ownership of that, but at the same time, I mean, I completely understand. And sometimes when you got a point guard, on the sidelines, they kind of want to play point through their point guard. You know what I mean? So there's maybe a little bit of over control at times. But one thing that I just, and I'm many miles away from Portland, Oregon, sadly, in Los Angeles, right? So I'm not on the ground there. I'm not hearing things that kind of thing. This is just for me. The minutes differences and why we get some here and some there. Just my gut reaction. I don't feel like there's any rhyme or reason to it. I feel like it just happens. Um, we get into certain games, and I feel like guys get a little bit lost, and I feel like sometimes that's happening to Scoot now. Um, and I just don't get the sense that it's any sort of like lesson that he's trying to teach Scoot or something happened at practice or anything like that. It feels really random to me,
Yeah.
and that's just
Right.
that's just the way that I take it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and could be completely wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very random.
Yeah.
All right. I think Tori is ready to
Okay.
join us. Do you still want to continue,
Yeah,
Rich?
I'll hang around until the aneurysms start,
All right.
Eric,
Yeah.
and that'll be fun for Chad. So
There was someone in chat that this is not funny, by the way. Like, if you're gonna joke with Rich, be funny. He said the person on the right looks like he's about to have a stroke. Is that true, Rich?
I mean, maybe I look like it. I don't know. I don't feel like I will. But I don't know I mean, if it happens, we'll all know at the same time, I guess. But no, I don't think I'm going to have a stroke. But
That's good. Yeah,
knock wood.
please don't.
If I feel it coming on, I will say something.
Well, yeah.
So
I thought
let's.
strokes is like people don't realize it's happening, and then other people
No,
can
I
see the
think I
signs.
think I think you're like supposed to sense. Aren't you supposed to sense it in your arm, or is that a heart attack? Or
I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
heart attack. Yeah, a stroke is
Uh,
you. I don't think you realize what's happening, but other people are like, "Oh my
okay,
god, are you having a stroke?"
okay.
I,
Well,
I might be
if
wrong on that, but like,
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
I think you can't
So
smile or something. So if you could smile, I think.
I
So
think
let's see a
that's I
smile.
think I think that's Bell's palsy, isn't it? That's kind of
Well,
Bell's
I mean,
palsy.
obviously, when your nerves in your face stop working, yes, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
All right.
yeah,
Um.
bring
So
in Tori.
just to let everyone know, so what's going to happen is I am going to attempt to pause this stream for a second, or not pause it, but I'm going to put it on the intro screen. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back in a few minutes. Hopefully, Tori can just take it over, and we'll have all three of us on there.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, so bear with us for just a minute or two while we bring Tori on, and we'll hopefully get him in here. If we lose connection, sorry, we'll try to restart or something, and yeah. Um, so yeah, give me just a minute here. All right, intro. Screen.
What's going on, everybody? Hopefully this worked. Hopefully we just did. What do they call it at a light where you Yeah, it did work. We did it. What do they call it at a light where you get out and you all switch seats?
I don't know.
Chinese fire drill or something like that. I don't know.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's what it is.
That's what we just
At a
did.
light, I like a traffic light.
Yeah, effectively. I didn't even have this 3-person camera scene set up. So I think we can do it faster next time. That was pretty good. What's going on, chat? Hopefully you guys are having a good night. I've just been listening to the stream, enjoying the Rich and Eric experience, as I always do. You know, unfortunately this time I'm not in Sun River like I was last time because that was a whole vibe. But yeah, I watched the first half of this game, watched the highlights of the second half. You know, there is going to be a little bit of box score watching from me. But what was your... So I kind of heard you guys talk about this, but just refresh it for me. What was your guys' take on the minutes for Scoot in this one? The minutes for Banton, because I thought that was something. You know, I thought it was... Just looking at the box score after the game, Scoot's 5 for 12, 1 for 2 from 3. Of course, you're not going to shoot as well when you're going up against Wemby and that rim protection. You know, there was a layup he tried to challenge Wemby in the first half. And I like the ambition and the confidence, but it's Victor Wembanyama, right? So 5 for 12. Banton plays 15 minutes, goes 1 for 8. And Eric, you brought up like... Okay, maybe it's Scoot's not looking too good in practice. That's why his minutes are getting cut. I mean... How much have they actually practiced with how many games they've been playing since Scoot was playing a lot more minutes earlier in the season and showing improvement? Because I feel like it's not enough for him to get his minutes cut.
Oh, absolutely not. I told you it wasn't anything I think is going on. It's just like, I don't know, like, there has to be something for Chauncey to mess with his minutes, right? Like, why else would you mess with Scoot's minutes? It makes no sense why he's playing 20 minutes a game. He should be playing 30 minutes a game, even coming off the bench, and I hate that he's not.
Yeah, so
What about you, Rich?
Do not assume nefariousness when simple incompetence will do.
Like, okay,
That's true.
So I have two, you know, I have two sides. I have two people on my shoulder. They're not an angel or a devil. They're just two different people that think two different things. Okay, one guy says, "Oh, you know, it's good to reward Banton after his last 2 fourth quarters and give him 15 minutes in this game. And they brought Sharp back, so you know, naturally the minutes are going to be tough, while trying to reward Banton as Chauncey should, and bringing Sharp back into the fold, right?" So even though Scoot played decent, he plays 20 minutes. That's the result of that. But the other person, and I think I agree with this person more, says, why in the world in a rebuild are we playing Delano Banton 15 minutes when he's stinking it up just because he had 2 good quarters where he subs onto the floor and the other team doesn't even know who he is? And why are we cutting Scoot's minutes to do that? You know?
Yeah.
I don't really like that. And Banton, we know what Banton is. We know he can get hot and score the ball. We also know that he plays much better against a team without a rim protector because he likes all these 4, 5, 6 foot floaters where he barely gets off the ground and just uses his length. And against a team without a rim protector, that stuff works. Against a team with a rim protector, he struggles because he's not cleanly beating guys to the rim most times, and he likes to slow down, decelerate, shoot all these shots where he's barely getting off the ground. If you got a shot blocker around him, he's going to struggle. And look at tonight, he's 1 for 8, right? I'm not surprised by that. So I said before this game that I think the minutes breakdown is going to be interesting as you bring Sharp back into the fold. You know, Thybulle's going to get healthy. Is he going to play at all, or is he going to be just like Robert Williams where he doesn't play? You know, what are they going to do there? Because I just feel like the result of this is going to be, man, Scoot's playing better, and Scoot improved to start the year, but now even when he plays decently, he's playing like 20 to 23 minutes a game, and I think that's a travesty. If he's struggling, that's one thing, but it's like there's just too many players on this roster, and Chauncey is in a lame duck year, so of course, if he has control over the lineup, he's going to value what he thinks can like help him win over all else. You don't want that to be the scenario for the head coach, though. That's kind of the problem with bringing Chauncey into potentially a lame duck year. So I don't like how little Scoot played in this game, given that he played decently. Like, Sharp played as many minutes as him, and Sharp also played decently. But, it's like, okay, so what if Sharp isn't on a minutes restriction? Is he taking even more of Scoot's minutes? How many minutes is Scoot playing? So they got to cut the Banton minutes out of the rotation going forward, especially once Sharp is off a minutes restriction, and those minutes need to go to Sharp and Scoot. It was 15 minutes, so you give at least 7 to one of them, 8 to another. They're playing 27, 28 minutes a game. That still feels a little bit low in a rebuild, but that's part of the reason why, maybe they take a look at getting what they can for Anthony Simons to clear the runway, because I'm not like pro trade Anthony Simons, but if you are so married to starting Anthony Simons and playing him 36 minutes a game, and you're so married to like playing a 9-10 man rotation, are you giving enough opportunity to Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson later in this season for them to actually have a chance at breaking out or developing? Because at that point, that's a negative. So that's how I feel about it.
I think that's a really good take. I just think, kind of in a macro sense, it's a weird setup for a rebuild, because you've got these veterans that you want to showcase to a certain extent to, for around the league. You want this? You like this? But at the same time, you've got young guys that should just be getting a ton of minutes. And then you've got guys like Thibault and Robert Williams, where like teams are going to want to see something from these guys before they're going to give you anything of value for them. So it's a weird, funky place to be, because you're trying to serve, so many masters, and really should just be a rebuild. The young guys are getting plenty of minutes, and through all of those minutes, kind of the guys who are really clicking and getting it emerge. But that's the challenge of our season and with our roster makeup right now. Hopefully that gets better.
The other, yeah, I was muted. The other thing is, you've talked about this, Eric. We've kind of had this conversation. Like, as far as Scoot and like being pass first, and I don't even want to overcomplicate it for him. I just want him to focus on making the right read as much as possible, whether that's shot or pass. Because last year he forced too many shots. Like, there's too many times where he's forcing shots where he should have passed. And when he struggled, like, he kind of can get into that mode. The flip side of that is I don't want him to get too passive, because I think the best version of him is a blend of both. And I understand the thought of, like, okay, you have him focus on just making the right pass, and then you ramp up like his aggression scoring the ball. I just, does that teach him to not be as aggressive as he should when he develops? I don't know. Like, I don't want to necessarily like teach him a passive mentality. I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world. I think it's better than him chucking up some of the shots that he shot last year. At the same time, I think it's just, okay, make the right read. Take the right shot or make the right pass. And then when you make the wrong reads, we'll go in the film room after the game, the next day, the off day, and we will go over every read you made wrong and the read you should have made, and what you should be keying in on in these situations in terms of reading the defense. And I think that's straightforward and kind of how I would approach it. But, your way might be better. I don't know. I don't get paid to develop NBA players, right? But hopefully Chauncey knows what the right.
You act like it sometimes on these streams.
Hey, man, I try my best, but
who are you, a shooting coach?
Man,
remember that.
So Tori, are you, to oversimplify what I think you're saying? Are you basically just in the Scoot just needs to focus on being a basketball player and not really worrying about being a point guard right now?
I mean, that's not how I would phrase it. I mean, he is a point guard, right? And point guards, they're going to run pick and roll. They're going to break down defense. They're going to create for others. It's more so just, like, if he was a pure scorer and a bad passer, the read in certain situations might be shoot, whereas with him being a better passer, the right read might be pass. right? So like
Yeah.
certain players in even if it's the same situations, certain players based on what they're good at, the right decision might be something else. So for him, compared to maybe somebody like Sharp, the right read in some situations will be, make that bullet skip pass that you are really good at to the wide open shooter in the opposite corner. But Sharp isn't as capable of that pass, so for Sharp it might be, okay, go up with that floater, right? So I think that kind of leans towards what Eric was saying, where, he should make the right pass and focus on that. I just wouldn't want to go too overboard with it, where then he has a lane and like could get to the rim and finish, but he's passing it out to Jabari Walker for 3. You know what I mean? So it's more so just make the right read, make the right play, and then we'll go in the film room, right? And if it on a given night, if he's too aggressive with his own shot, the mistakes are going to be, you should have passed here and you shot. You should have passed here and you shot. It might even be something like, okay, here you tried to accelerate to the rim, even though there's 2 shot blockers there. You should have slowed things down and tried to get to the middle of the floor and then make a play there, whether it's a shot or pass. So it can be more nuanced, but it's I don't want him to be too passive, because I don't think he's like, the best version of him is not somebody who's passive.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like to err on the side of trying to avoid him being too passive, but I'm betting second half SMU football overs. So, so what do I know? So I'm always aggressively going.
Brought to you by BetUS.
Yeah. Shout Bet
Speaking of which,
I'm not gonna do any ad reads. It's just a little extra stream for him because I was here late. So, but shout out to him. But I don't know, Eric. Do you have anything like?
Well, okay. So, just to clarify, being a passing point guard isn't necessarily passive. You could be a super aggressive pass guy. Like, you can go in and absolutely affect the game with passing. And I'm not saying if he's got an open lane to like not shoot it ever. Like, he obviously is going to have times where it makes sense to just drive all the way in and score. And he is doing a much better job this season of deciding when to do that and when to pass. So maybe a lot of this is just going to happen naturally anyway. I just, like, I'm trying to think of a point guard that just, like, constantly gets in the lane and just is always finding open guys and just Chris Paul is getting up there, so it's maybe not the best example anymore. Steve Nash was obviously a great shooter, so it's kind of hard to say. But, like, people would beg Steve Nash to shoot more, but he would just completely control the game.
In today's game, I feel like Steve Nash shoots a lot more.
I know, yeah. He probably shoots 10 threes a game, yeah.
Yeah, completely.
I don't know, like, if you're necessarily holding him back, you can still have him be super aggressive. I don't think it's like, you're just being like...
But the best way I would put it is, like, He needs to learn how to hit some more difficult layups and like be crafty around the rim and like be able to extend, contour, that sort of thing. And if he just like gets more passive, then to me that means like he stops doing that, because there's like defense he's trying to like finish around and finish through, and then it's like, okay, are you slowing his development in those types of situations? So because I get it would be nice if he's Chris Paul. He's just more athletic, though, and I don't know if he has the level of feel or will ever have the level of feel that Chris Paul did for running an offense. Like, I think Scoot's a really, really gifted passer and can be like 8-9 assists per game guy. Chris Paul is just on a whole nother level, though, with just like his feel for running the offense and finding guys and that sort of thing. And it's really hard to reach that level. It's why he was so special, and probably a future Hall of Famer, right? So. Is he a future Hall of Famer? Do you think Chris Paul's a future Hall of Famer?
Oh, he's 100% Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
What?
I mean,
of course.
See, it's one of those guys where like if he wins a ring, it's like no brainer. But just given his
it's a no brainer. His one.
The
top 75 player of all time.
Are you?
Was he top 75?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was top 75, but no, I mean I know how good Chris Paul was. Like figured he was a no-brainer Hall of Famer. I just didn't want to say it if you guys didn't feel that way, you know. But then again, I'm not. I haven't watched the full career of players that end up in the Hall of Fame simply just because. Sorry to say it, I'm a little younger, right? So,
Chris Paul was amazing right out the gate. Those New Orleans teams, / OKC, like when they were playing in OKC in Oklahoma City, not his most recent run, but the previous one. I mean, he and Chandler had that 2-man game that was just. I mean, that lob game with Chandler was amazing.
Dro says he does not have an IQ level like CP3 or Nash. Scoot shows 0 flashes. What do you mean? What do you mean he shows 0 flashes? He has some really impressive passes, like really impressive moments where he sets guys up. Like there's plays where he has really impressive vision. I wouldn't say he has 0 flashes. And then Dro says, dude, he has no control. Why do you talk in such extremes? I know that's basketball discourse, but everything, Eric, you say it all the time. Everything's either the best or the worst. Somebody's either great at something or they suck at it and don't do it at all. And this is a perfect example of that.
That's our entire culture. I mean, with everything. This movie is the best. This movie is the worst. I mean, it's everything.
Like shows 0 flashes and has no control. He's been playing with a lot more control this year. So if he's playing with a lot more control this year than last year, and he has no control right now, then what did he have last year? So I just don't understand it, man. Don't understand it. He's a 6th man at best. There's the extremes, bro. I can't with that discourse. I hate that discourse. That's why I love hopping up on stream with you, Eric, because you don't do that crap. If you did that crap, we would argue a lot more because I just hate NBA discourse like that, man.
Yeah. That's my dog. Drinks water. So for me, trying to take this back on topic, I completely understand if Scoot develops, he could be an amazing finisher and a good passer, a mix of both. But where I watch Scoot play and the way he shoots, I'm not saying it can't improve. Obviously, you work on it hard enough like he does, you're going to improve finishing. But I don't know if he has the feel for like angles and spin and things like that you have to have.
He showed improvement in that way.
No, I'm saying you're going to naturally improve the more you work on it. So he will be better at it. I just don't know if that's ever going to be like an elite skill. Whereas passing, I think if he's going to have an elite skill, will be. So like I think finishing is more of a trainable skill than high level passing. Right,
because I think there's an element of feel for passing at that level.
Right, and so that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not saying he can't ever be a good finisher. I'm just saying, like, I'm more worried about that aspect of his game never panning out than I am some of the other parts of his game. And that would be my only thing, is like, what if he never really becomes a good finisher and you try to get him to become that, you know?
But
a lot of it's
you got to do it to
reps.
You got to do it to right? To me, like, you got to do it in order to have the chance of becoming good, and I just do not want to like limit him at 20. I'd rather he tries to make the right reads, but like maintains a level of aggression and works on finishing in traffic, finishing at all these angles. I'd rather have him work on that and try that and find out down the road that, like, even though he tried and trained it really, really hard, he just can't do it. Mm-hmm. I'd rather do that than like limit him now and potentially like not get the fully maximized version of him.
Yeah. Once again, I'm not saying to limit him or put restrictions on him. I'm just saying if I'm going to bet, I would bet more on his passing being his main skill than his finishing. But yeah.
Yeah. Chat's.
Did you read the deleted comment?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Oh my god.
I don't even know what that is.
That's wild. Shout out to anyone who saw it. We don't put our chat on the screen like other channels do. So no, stop saying it.
Was that statement
Please
about your
stop,
dog?
Johnny.
Was that about your dog?
No,
it's
Okay, not that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even read like any part of it off on air. Like
Come on.
I will tell you. We will tell you after the stream. But yeah. Yeah. No.
Come on, Johnny.
Johnny's tripping. As always. But
And of course, he had to repeat it.
yeah, of course he had to repeat it. This is what he does. So yeah. Anyway. He needs to play more, dude.
Oh, for sure. I think we all agree on
Did
that.
Chauncey listen to Blazer fans were like, oh, Banton is the best player on the team because of that fourth quarter? I mean, why do we gotta overreact to 1-2 good fourth quarters, man? Like, it's not like it takes 2 quarters to prove that he's some leveled up version of himself when he's always been a scorer and pretty much just that. So especially when he's struggling. Like, I understand playing him a little bit just to see, like, okay, does he have it like he had on previous nights? But you don't play him 15 minutes and Scoot 20 when Scoot's easily playing better than him. I just don't agree with that. And I don't know, man. Like, I feel like starting level players, they may start a game a little rough, but then, like, find their rhythm because they're playing enough minutes, and at the end of the game, oh, they had a decent game. You know, they started rough, but they found their rhythm in the game. And when Scoot's coming off the bench and playing, 20, 25 minutes, yeah, he can have good games if he has it from the jump, but it's like when he starts slow, it feels like there aren't enough minutes for him to have one of those games where, like, oh, he finds his rhythm and then starts playing well at the end of the night, he has a good night. It's like if he's struggling in the first, few minutes, like, it's going to be a bad night for him.
Well, it's also that, I mean, it's just that human nature feeling of I'm getting a limited amount of run here. I got to really maximize my minutes and make the most of them while I'm in here, as opposed to a guy who is getting a more steady amount of minutes and can just settle in and let the game come to him a little bit more. I think it's kind of funny that we're all talking about this, and we all care so much, right? I mean, we're all Blazer fans. We want this to go well. We want Scoot to succeed. We have visions of what we think he could be, and kind of this, like, playing downhill, like the wave, right? Like all this momentum coming at a defense, and then he can penetrate, find guys, finish, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I think we all see it. We see what it can be. But even in our discussion of this, like, there's a paralysis by analysis, not only for us in talking about this ad nauseum just over and over, and I'm not criticizing either of you for this. It's just what we do as fans. But I'm also concerned about the same dynamic for him. Like, at some point, this is your 9th game in your 2nd season, and you're figuring things out. And it's fine. I feel like, Tori, you kind of agree with me a little bit here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you just don't want to see a paralysis by analysis situation for Scoot where he's thinking too much.
Yeah, definitely. And I do think there's a lot of truth to, if he's not playing many minutes, he's going to want to prove that he deserves more, and then he might force or push. And I think that was his biggest issue last year, and I think this season he has done a much better job of not forcing and not pushing too hard, which is
Agreed.
A big part of the reason why I have a problem with him playing 20 minutes in a game where he was decent. Because what does that say to him? You know what I mean? And some people might think we're overanalyzing this, but there is absolutely a mental aspect to being an athlete. So that's a big issue, and because people argue this, like, oh, his development isn't going to matter between 20 and 28 minutes. Like, those extra reps, what are they going to do? But You don't want to get him into this mindset where he's trying to prove too hard that he deserves more minutes. You want him to go out there and try and make the right reads, and you try and train him where he doesn't have to think. He just reads the game and plays the right way. So
right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're fine. I'm okay with him coming off the bench. This isn't a start versus come off the bench conversation. This is just purely a minutes conversation. There is absolutely no way he should be playing less than 28 minutes a game in a game where he's decent.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught this part of the stream, Tori, but I said the other part of it is when you're playing this many guys and the minutes aren't consistent, it's really hard to like get in a rhythm. And then, like you said, if you struggle and then Chauncey's like, well, then I'm not going back to you in this quarter or this half or whatever, then it's it gets kind of jumbled, and then you start to mess with the psyche of some of your players and stuff like that. So at some point, I don't know, because I mean, what has he done? I mean, he did have a couple of bad games, but like it's not like he's been so bad to the point where he needs to have his minutes taken down. You know, like it was fine at the beginning of the season. He was getting enough minutes off the bench, and I thought it was good.
And the last thing you bench him for is, he's struggling to shoot the 3-point ball, because that's you're going to have good stretches, you're going to have bad stretches shooting the ball. We know that's a weakness. We know that he works on his shot, right? That's not like, you're not making the right play, or, you're being too selfish, or, you're not hustling, you know what I mean? Like that shooting is very variable. So you don't hold somebody back when you're trying to develop them in a rebuild because they're struggling to make threes, right? Because his shooting picked up over the season last year. So you hope that it's the same thing this year, and he's 1 for 2, so his 3-point percentage is 28, 29% after this game. Like, okay, you hope it picks up to 34, 35, right? There's a comment in chat that says, I disagree, Tori, he needs to earn it. That's just simplifying it too much, because it's completely taking out the whole mental aspect of him feeling like he needs to prove that he's earned it, and that can have detrimental effects. And if he's playing decent, how does he not earn 28 minutes in a game where his minutes are getting cut for Delano Banton, who's 1 for 8? Like, there's not much legitimate talent on this team, and he's the 3rd overall pick. He's a legitimate prospect. If he plays decent, how is he not earning more than 20 minutes a game? So I just don't agree with that comment at all.
There's also something to be said for the consistency of the guys around you when you're coming in. Like, if other guys don't know their spots and their minutes, it's really hard to develop chemistry. One thing that I think Eric will get a kick out of, mainly just because we're older. So there's a guy who has a YouTube channel who has a lot of old Blazer games on there. I think his username is Mercer22. He's got a lot of classic Blazer games on there. And Eric, one thing that's kind of fun that I've done recently is he'll have some games on there from like 1985 where Clyde Drexler's in his second year, Terry Porter's in his rookie year, Jerome Kersey's in his second year, and I'll watch a little bit of their games together, and they're all on the court playing together, and there are times where it was a mess. Like, you watch, and it's so ironic to watch, knowing what that group, but also those individual players grew into. And I think it's kind of an interesting perspective to kind of check out little stretches of those games, knowing what those guys became, and kind of looking at that stuff has maybe be a little bit more patient towards Scoot. Just having that perspective of, oh man, look at these 3 guys who are like Blazer legends who in their first couple of years in the league, when they're all playing together, that didn't click right away. I mean, they're building that chemistry and they're kicking the ball all over the court. I mean, so it was kind of funny to watch and also a good perspective exercise to do too.
You're muted, Tori.
Oh, I just said yep, but I don't really have anything else to add to this conversation. We've discussed it pretty well, I think.
I don't understand. Okay, even if you think he's a bust and never going to be good, what good would it be of like not playing him or playing him less minutes? Like I don't understand why we're not all agreeing that to just let him play the minutes and see what he could do given a season of giving him 30 minutes a game. Even Cronin said we need clarity this year. I absolutely agree with him.
The arguments against that act like the team is good and trying to win games.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't play him. You're making mistakes. We're in a rebuild. We suck. We're 3-6, and maybe we could have won another game here or there. Maybe our record should be better. But guess what? Bad teams find ways to lose games. And we just lost to San Antonio, which has been a team that has not looked good this year. So we are a bad team. Like, we can't be in this mindset of like, okay, we're rebuilding, the roster's not that good, but this young guy we're really trying to develop that we drafted 3rd overall, he's making mistakes, so we should cut his minutes. Like, that's just so backwards to me. I do not understand it.
We're 3 points away from 1-8. So,
That's funny.
I don't,
It's
just saying.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, in my opinion, like, it does, I don't know, it just does no good to not let him make mistakes. And every good player, like, you learn from making mistakes. Like, no one is just perfect right away. I mean, there's people that are better than Scoot initially, right when they get into the league. But there's plenty of players that need to make mistakes and learn how to play through them and not have their confidence destroyed through mistakes. And so, like, it's how you react to those mistakes that's important. Like, if Scoot's already doing a better job, I mean, it's still not where it needs to be, but he's doing a better job this year of not just being completely careless with the ball for long stretches of the game where you just like get this guy out of the game. Like, for the most part, he's been pretty solid in terms of just running the offense and letting the game come to him and not trying to like overcomplicate things and doing too much or drive when he shouldn't. He is doing a better job of those things. So like, I don't understand saying like, nope, not going to happen. Just like we need to let him make mistakes. I thought this game in particular, most of his mistakes were in his first few minutes of his first shift in the game. He didn't look like he was going to be a factor in this game. And I thought he played better in his second shift and all that kind of stuff. So I don't see the point, even if you're completely out on Scoot, of not letting him at least try to learn from these things.
Yep. Same thing kind of applies to Klingon. At some point, the defensive side of the ball will slow down for him. We normally talk about that with young guys in terms of how they read the game offensively is how people tend to think of it. But I think for Klingon, he's not the quickest of foot, and he's a very smart defender. So it's not like he's incapable of reading the game quick enough. I think it's just he's not used to the NBA pace, and when he just has moments where he will go chase a driver when he doesn't need to, like that dump off pass underneath him, really good pass, right? But like that, he shouldn't have jumped at it. He should have been there, been a presence, waited for the guy to go up first because it was like a 6'3", 6'4" guard. I forget who it was. And then tried to meet him after he like actually was going up for a shot. Instead, he goes a little bit early, and then it's a dump-off pass, right? So like there's a whole timing element to it that at the NBA pace is tough on some bigs, and that's why bigs for the longest time were always considered a project, even if they were a high draft pick. So I think that's going to be the way it is with Klingon, and I think especially as he gets gassed, he starts to like break down in that way defensively, and then struggles to get out and guard. Like I don't know if he's ever going to be good guarding stretch fives. Hopefully he can get a little bit more athletic and agile. That would help him, I think, on both sides of the floor. But as a rim protector, I think he has not looked as impactful, I feel like, the past few games, but it's all part of the growth curve, which is why he should continue to play. And it's nice that he's playing over Robert Williams. We can talk about what I think they're doing with Williams in a second, but I think a lot of the logic just in terms of how you develop a player that we talk about with Scoot can be applied to Klingon.
How are you with Klingon's minutes? Because we talked about that a little bit earlier. I don't know if you heard it.
He should be playing more. He should be playing 18 and 20 minutes a game. So if he's playing 18 minutes a game, he's playing 9 minutes a half, right? Give him a 4-minute stint and a 5-minute stint. Sub him in maybe with 5 minutes left in the first and third quarters, let him play until the quarter break. And sub him in with 9 minutes left in the second and fourth quarters, play him until there's 5 minutes left. That way he gets his break. You're not completely gassing him, but you're playing him enough minutes to hopefully kind of build some of that endurance while you're also giving him more reps defensively to figure it out, because he's a really smart player. So I think he's the type of guy where he's going to learn from his mistakes. You just got to go out there and almost let him make those mistakes so he can learn from them and grow. And this is a life thing too. Like, you learn more from your failures than your successes, right? And if you have the right mindset, you can turn failure into a good thing if you use it to grow, to learn, to build yourself up, right? I kind of look at it with a developmental guy like that. So
that attitude is the first indicator to me that you are now living with a woman. Like, all this talk of learning from your failures.
Bro, no.
You're getting
something?
it.
No, you want to know something?
He's getting it, Eric.
No, you want to know something? I am working. I am the one teaching that. Okay.
Oh God. Oh.
Oh no.
I am the one.
Good luck with that.
No. I mean, it's something that I've always tried, like the mindset I've always tried to have. Like, it's something that I've really worked on. I had to work on it. Here's the thing, like, it's tough to have that mindset for a lot of people, and I get it, and I used to struggle with it. It's almost something you have to train yourself to look at the bright side of things, the silver linings, right? And try and take good things out of bad things, take good things out of failure, right? So, it's instead of getting negative and focusing on the failure itself, you focus on, okay, what can I do from this? How can I turn this into something that's productive? So, it's something that I've gotten better at, right? So it's not something that was like taught to me, though.
Zach Landia in chat says, "This is how you know she's playing 4D chess with him." That's pretty funny.
No, man, I deserve my own credit. Okay, come on.
Sometimes they let us think that we came up with an idea. It's very nice. You'll love it.
Adam
Eric?
says pause. Oh, did I say something pause-worthy? Oh, I did say something pause-worthy. I forget how I phrased it, but I understand Eric's reaction now. He's very quiet, Rich.
Oh, okay.
What is Dro talking about?
Dro, how many drinks did you... Tomorrow is the night where me and Eric take shots on stream. Not tonight. Why are you drunk on a Thursday night?
Thirsty Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, tomorrow, me and Eric we'll take shots on stream, so make sure you show up tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow's shot night. If you don't know our event night schedule, join our Discord. There's a Blazers schedule.
Hey, Tori, since there's a couple of comments about Robert Williams in the chat, do you want to kind of touch on what you think the Blazers are doing with him?
Oh, yeah. Let me know, chat. Let me know if you guys agree. You too, also, let me know if you agree. I kind of feel like the Blazers are taking the approach of teams know what he is when he's healthy. We need to make sure he's healthy by the trade deadline in order to trade him, and we still think we can get like a late first-round pick because of his body of work. And obviously teams are going to be worried about, if he's injury-prone or not. But if you trade him, you're trading him to a team that's like contending and wants him for a playoff run. So it's a 2-month, I guess if he gets him in February, right? Like
Rental.
a 3 to 4 month, and he's not an expiring contract, right? So they want him next year, but it's like
that's right.
They're picking him up for a 3 to 4 month span. So if he's healthy, yes, teams might be concerned about that, but they will focus more on, okay, this is Robert Williams. We know what he can do defensively. I think that is part of the reason why they didn't just insert him back into the lineup to showcase him, because I feel like they think, what is showcasing him going to do? The only thing you get out of showcasing him is proving that he's healthy, but it increases the risk that he's not.
And the only time that it's really necessary to do that is in January.
Yeah, I guess just to prove that he's out there and in game shape, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like they almost approach it like they don't need to showcase him. They don't need to risk the injury. They just need to hang on to him, keep him healthy until teams really start calling for him, and then they'll be able to trade him.
I kind of agree with that. The thing is, though, I think he needs to check into an NBA game and play on the court so people can just not say, like, oh, well, they say he's healthy, but we have no idea. At least, like, play 5 minutes in an NBA game and just be like, see, he played, he's healthy.
Yeah, well, I think part of it is like, okay, is Ayton or Klingon ever going to miss games? Then you play him, right? Or if, you're missing guys at the forward positions, then maybe you play Ayton, some with Klingon, then you get Robert Williams his spot minutes. So I think just because he just got back, they're being patient, seeing if, like, okay, let's see if an opportunity arises where it makes sense to play him, because obviously they're playing Klingon and they value Klingon, right? So that's like the other half of the puzzle, is they're playing Klingon over him, right? So I think they're waiting for that scenario. Once you get into January, maybe they start dusting them off and doing some weird lineups or something, but I just think this is kind of the mindset they have with this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
because I was like, oh, they're gonna try and showcase him, but I was really thinking about this tonight. Like, do they need to? Like, how much do they need to? How much do you have to risk it? So,
not right now.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. Yep.
So, I am
especially if they're gonna try and play cutesy and actually, if they think they can create some sort of a bidding war for him, I think if they get offered something decent, they should jump on it, as opposed to trying to get cute with it, and then you end up screwing around and he gets hurt because you played him way too much, trying to drive up his price.
I do agree with Eric. There is a balance there. Like, as a GM, can you justify trading a late first-round pick for a dude that hasn't played in a season and a half? Basically,
Yeah.
So I do think they are going to need to play him at some point. I just don't think that they have to rush it.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, if you put him in a game, you're just like, please don't get hurt, please don't.
Yeah, please don't get hurt, and also please look the same.
You play in bubble wrap.
Yeah, like, please look the same. So, like, even if they start giving him spot minutes, I think it'll be something where, like, they try and keep him fresh so that he looks good, and just, like, go out there, give it your all in 8 to 10 minutes. Like, defend the rim, do all that stuff, right, and be Robert Williams. Because with these injuries, how little he's played, I'm kind of worried that if they do play him, he's not going to look like the same level of defender. And then not only are you risking he gets hurt, but then also maybe he plays his way out of any trade value, and then you're just stuck.
Yeah. Yep.
So it would have been easier if they just freaking flipped him after they got him like I asked them to, even though so many Blazer fans were telling me, this is the type of center they've needed for the longest time. Like, you don't need him, and he's going to get hurt, is what I said. You don't need him. You're going into a rebuild. He's very injury prone. If he gets injured, his trade value is going to decline, and then what do? Well, now we're talking about, maybe you don't need to play him for another half season after he was injured all year last year, so that maybe you can get a team to trade for him. It's just silly. It's just a lack of foresight. They should have traded him before last season.
Totally agree.
I feel like you say that about a lot of players.
What, and then we're right? Or that, like, just...
No, that, like Jeremy Grant, they should have shopped him at the deadline last year before, like, waiting until the summer to do it when there's, I don't know.
Like, get ahead of the ball. Don't keep trailing it. Don't keep kicking the can down the road. It's Because everybody just focuses on, they don't have to do this. They can wait. And these same trade packages, they're going to be there. The last part isn't necessarily true if they don't play as well or they get hurt. Or like there's things that can go wrong. Where like, yes, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to do a single thing, right? So I never understood that defense. But it's like you're just weighing pros and cons, and I just feel like people ignore the cons of hanging on to these guys.
And you can wait too long.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Sharp looked good, huh?
Yeah, he looked great.
Yeah.
He looks a little. Does he look a little skinnier, or was it just the t-shirt?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell with the compression shirt, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hit a jumper, like that baseline cut, that's nice to have. Our offense needs, I think, more curls, Eric.
Oh, absolutely.
I was thinking this when we were talking about Scoot. Like, I feel like Scoot would be somebody that would be pretty good coming off curls. We could step back and get a wide open three and hopefully knock down enough if they go under. And then if they you can't trail him. Even if guys go under, if he's coming off a curl and it's a good screen, like he's still getting into the paint.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense isn't exactly set. So he actually has a runway to maybe load up and like finish strong at the rim. Because the problem is a lot of times when he drives and like tries to explode, he like tried to dunk over Zach Collins in this game, but Zach Collins was sitting there waiting for him from the jump. So that's the problem. Like, I would love to get Scoot off more curls, and then coming off a curl like that weak side pass, he's really good at that. Put a shooter in that weak side corner. Sharp, we saw a game last year where he took over a game off like 3 curls, and they were all like beautiful half-court possessions. And like, I just, if we're gonna run a limited basic offense, like just throw in more freaking curls, man.
Yeah, Sharp in particular, I felt like, not necessarily that he's going to be Devin Booker, but if you use him in those Devin Booker curls, I feel like it would be really good.
He just doesn't have like and maybe he can develop this. Booker has he'll get to like 7 feet and then rise up and like shoot the ball from like way above his head, and it's unblockable, and he'll cash it, and it's like, how do you guard that? And that's the thing with Sharp, is he shoots his mid-ranges kind of like lower set point, kind of the same way he shoots his threes. I want to see him develop that, where he gets to like 7-8 feet, uses his athleticism, like gets high off the ground, shoots the ball from like a high set point, and just rises up over guys and knocks down that shot, because that's part of the reason Devin Booker's so good, and I feel like Sharp could be really good at that if he developed it, because he's even more athletic.
Oh, way more.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm seeing a lot of stuff in chat about different coaches and things like that. So ideally, have you guys been discussing lately, and sorry that I'm not like completely up to speed on all your previous shows.
Boo.
I'm kidding. I have a brain injury.
I know. I'm kidding.
Cut me some slack. I'm about to have a stroke.
Don't have a stroke. That person was lying. I removed their comment.
Oh, I don't care.
I care.
Oh, that's nice of you. I appreciate that. Do you guys have a dream coaching candidate?
I mean, Hurley, but that'll never happen.
Okay, right. Okay, what is a realistic? Oh yeah, if they could do that, and I could see that being available to them. Not necessarily they would do it, Jody spend the money, et cetera, but like, what is a realistic candidate that you guys each feel like, oh yeah, that'd be a good direction to go?
The problem is, the right answer to that question is probably a guy that we haven't heard of. Like, who was the right coach for OKC? Mark Dagnall. Did anybody know who he was when they hired him? Nope. But he was the right coach. You know what I mean? So
Nick Nurse for the Raptors. Yeah.
Nick Nurse is really struggling this year, but he was
but
looked really good. Yeah, with that Raptors team, he's the perfect coach for that Raptors team. So it's like, okay, find the next Mark Diagonal. I don't like retreads. Everybody knows retreads, so everybody's like, Mark Jackson, bring back Terry Stotts, bring back Nate McMillan, just because his names they've heard of. But the right answer is probably like a new age coach, because the NBA is a lot different than it used to be. And sometimes with these old heads, you don't get somebody that has kept up with the times, right? And I feel like Chauncey is one of those guys, right? Former player, so he just started coaching, but he was a former player, so everybody knew his name. So I don't like retreads, and I think it's somebody that we don't know, so it's like kind of impossible to answer that other than that.
Yeah, we'll see how he does, but someone like Charles Lee in Charlotte, who, I mean, people who follow assistant coaches, I guess, have heard of, but he seems to have some good philosophies. The one retread that got hired several retreads did, but the one that's been awesome so far is Kenny Atkinson, who got a raw deal in Brooklyn. But
I loved that hire. Alex Wolf on here, who obviously is a Cavs fan. I texted him. Well, he was asking me, who do you think they should get as coach? And that's actually the guy that I said. I said, if you could get a Kenny Atkinson, I believe in that guy. I think he would do really well with that group. So he's been a perfect fit there.
Yeah.
Really.
But it's just so early, like Utah, you remember that one year they were supposed to suck, and it was when the Blazers got their hot start. And then Utah was like 10-3. It's like, look at Will Hardy. Well, look at Utah this year. They're 1-7. How good of a job is he doing? And it's not like they've been super banged up. Like, they've had Laurie for not every game, but they've had Laurie for a lot of games. They lost Taylor Hendricks, but Taylor Hendricks hadn't really developed yet. Hopefully he can bounce back. But so, it's still early. It's impressive that they're 4-4, because that's like fourth place in the East, so the East is really weird. But I don't know, man. Like, that's why it's like, I hated when, I wanted to move on from Stotts to get better coaches. Like, oh, you have to have a name in mind if you're going to say that. It's like, no, it's not my job to hire the coach. Like, hire somebody that coaches better in the playoffs. Figure out who that is. They hired Chauncey. Chauncey's not that guy, but it's like, I'm not paid to make those decisions. I'm just paid to comment on those decisions, right? So, it's I can see what's in front of me, and I can analyze coaching, I can judge what they're doing on the floor. At the end of the day, you just run iso ball and pick and roll through Dame, and he gets trapped to death in the playoffs, and then you run drop scheme on freaking Steph Curry because you didn't run anything else all year. It's like, okay, well, those things are problems in the playoffs. Let's get a coach who will actually innovate a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know who that is. Not my decision to make. So I've never liked people that it's always the people that are fighting back on behalf of the coach. It's always the people that are like, it's your criticisms of the coach aren't legit, right? You got to come up with a better solution. And how do you know they'll be better? And you got to prove that you can find somebody better, blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, man, like that's the organization's job. And if you got somebody with flaws that you can improve upon and you're trying to actually win, then you should do that. So that's always been my mindset with that.
Well, I mean, we talked about it a little bit when I've had the opportunity to talk to you both, but, we all love the 2019 Western Conference Finals run, but 2018 was the year to pull the eject button. See, this is what a brain injury does, kids. Push the eject button on Stotts in 2018, but Dame and CJ went to Paul Allen, basically begged him to let Stotts stay. They tried to take full accountability for the New Orleans sweep, and it would have been nice.
Let me just add, that was the worst coach series I've ever seen.
Horrible. Just absolutely horrible. So that would have been the year to make the move, because the guys were still young enough that you could have the group that you had that went to the Western Conference Finals in 2019, and obviously, you have an asterisk there because of Nurkic's tragic injury that he had. But a different coach with that group going forward, I think, makes a big difference. But I agree with you, Tori. I think that's a really great point in terms of if you're going to obsess who the next coach is and be like, well, it's almost like, I mean, not to make a bad analogy or something like that, but it's almost like being in a bad relationship, but staying in it because you don't have anybody better that you feel you can be with, where your focus should solely be on this thing is not working, this thing is not good. I can figure the other thing out later. Like someone may emerge in my life that is a better fit. And I wish the Blazers would have done that sooner.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're totally right. Like if you fall victim to the, well, who you going to go get when you already know the thing you're doing isn't working, I think you're missing the ball.
Yeah. Then, you can apply a lot of stuff to O'Shea with the way he didn't upgrade around Dame too. It applied to both of them. Like, you don't ever win a Western Conference Finals game with your best player ever. The guys running the ship probably shouldn't be around for a decade. And that's not blasphemous at all. And people say, yeah, O'Shea should have been gone for a suitor, but it's like there's still so many people that think we should still have Stoss as our coach, which is just so wild to me, man.
And one thing to keep in mind, we are not, and I mean, I guess I shouldn't say for sure, but I would be absolutely floored if we paid what it took to get a good college coach or to get a already established coach to leave his team to come here. Like those things are most likely not going to happen. So like
no.
One Love in chat keeps bringing up Danny Hurley, and he turned down like $70 or $80 million from the Lakers and got a huge extension for about that much to stay at UConn. So you're talking about having to pay him $15 million a year to even consider coming to Portland, and that's just not going to happen. We are not going to pay a coach that much. So it's going to be someone who is like an assistant somewhere or someone who isn't going to make a ton of money, like Chauncey doesn't make much at all. So if you're talking about the next coach costing like $7 million or more, it's just, I don't think it's happening. So in my mind, that's where it plays back to where Tori was saying you have to look at assistants who are either on the come up and are like the next thing that people are saying you need to go after this guy, or you need to find a guy that you think has the right mindset to be the coach of this team, but hasn't really had a chance to prove that yet, even if he's had coaching jobs. The one guy I can think of that fits that is someone that I've always liked, and that's Jerry Stackhouse, who
love it.
Coached at Vanderbilt and is now learning under Steve Kerr and Terry Stotts in Golden State. So maybe he can learn some things there to help some of his philosophies become more translatable and stuff like that. So that's someone who, if he spends a little bit of time as an assistant coach, you might be it longer than a year, even though he's been a head coach elsewhere in the past. But like, just at some point, I think that's why I never had a problem with Chauncey as a coach, because I think the upside was there. If he was a good coach, you had him for cheap, and he obviously had good relationship with players and around the league with different organizations and stuff like that. Like, I felt like it was a good risk to take. It just obviously hasn't panned out. So like, I think you have to go for someone like that maybe is a little bit of a risk, or like a little bit of it could not work out, but it also could lead to you finding your coach for the next 10 years or something.
Well, not to be a downer, but I'm almost convinced that their next coach is already on the roster. that Chauncey that Chauncey will be gone sometime shortly. I mean, I would imagine like sometime around the All-Star break. I just and not that I'm justifying it, but I just feel like what would this management group do and ownership group do? And I think what they would do is they would let Chauncey go around midseason. They would float rumors that Chauncey was pushing for an extension. They wanted to wait it out and wait to negotiate in the offseason. Chauncey is removed as head coach. They put in one of the two new lead assistants. There's a little bit of an uptick, and because you've got somebody auditioning for their job, and they end up hiring that person in the offseason without a coaching search. I think, unfortunately, that's going to end up being what happens, and I think it tracks with what this group would probably be instructed to do.
Well, it's basically what they did with Cronin.
Right.
Yeah. So it's basically just that exact thing.
I hope I'm wrong, because I love the Jerry Stackhouse idea. It's always great. It's always great to go into every game knowing that our coach can beat up your coach. I love it. So for that alone, but I agree with you, Eric. Somebody is going to take a chance on Jerry Stackhouse and be very happy.
Yeah, I want to hear Eric's thoughts. I'll just add this first, though. Like, they did just bring in these assistant coaches in the past year. So it's not like they're married to them or, like, know them super well or anything like that. If they were guys that have been here for years, I'd be more inclined to agree. But given
I feel like they were brought in specifically for that purpose. Does that make sense? Like they're already, I felt like with those two hires, they were already looking ahead to that.
I view it more as they were giving Chauncey a chance to improve by giving him a different staff and seeing how things would go.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if I was starting to think what you were thinking, and I know we talked about that around the time, Rich, but like to me, when Chauncey came out and said that he had actually like hired Bjorkgren as a consultant and he had been like advising him all last year and stuff like that, to me it just seemed more like that was Chauncey was like, okay, let's bring this guy in full time, not necessarily the Blazers like, oh, let's bring a potential replacement coach onto the roster. But I also
okay, clip it.
Yeah,
and I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's plenty of examples, but when is the last time like an intern coach like ended up working out? I guess you can kind of say Missoula was an intern coach, but like he became the actual coach. He wasn't ever like an assistant, like an intern coach before that. And Alex Wolf, of course, provides the ultimate example of Ty Lue, who, LeBron gets his coach fired, David Blatt, in the middle of the season, and Lue comes in to be really good.
Rick Adelman was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I know it was a long time ago, but
I just like, I don't know. You look at this may be a bad example, but you look at Antonio Pierce in Los Angeles right now in the NFL with Las Vegas with the Raiders. And I mean, that looks like a disastrous decision to hire him as coach, even though like all the players wanted that. You look at Michigan with they hire their assistant coach after Jim Harbaugh leaves, and that's not looking great right now. I don't know. I wonder, like, I don't know. I feel like there are a lot more teams have had success in recent years hiring the unknown from another coaching staff than just promoting from within.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
You guys want to do a tankathon?
Yeah.
See if Rich is lucky, and then probably
sure.
wrap up this stream. Let's not show my dash page. There we go. All right. So Portland.
By the way, real quick, I just want to say again, thank you guys so much for having me on here. It's my birthday next week, so this is like a little birthday present to myself to get together with you guys and see you and stuff like that. So again, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
It's just good to see you, honestly. So happy you're on here. We'll see if you're good luck too.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough though because the Blazers only have 9th best odds right now.
Well, let's see.
They're not tanking hard enough. They are not tanking hard enough.
God.
Which is funny because like Orlando is 3-6 as well at 5th best. So I don't know why we're.
Hey Tori.
Go ahead.
What would you think of Aeromancer's idea for coach?
What do you say?
Hire Evan Turner.
Hell no. Hell no. I would boycott this team. It's disgusting, man.
The press conferences alone would just pierce the ears.
Like, that's something Blazer fans would love. Like, we brought back ET. Like, oh. No. No.
And then he's absolutely terrible, and then he thanks the franchise for the bag of cash.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Why, like, Evan Turner, I felt like his basketball IQ was always overrated because he could kind of pass, but like just some of the shots he'd take just drove me insane, man. Like he shot way too many mid-range pull-ups.
I bought into the hype in the offseason when we acquired him. I was really
Really?
I did. I was really hopeful.
Did you not understand the salary cap back then?
I did pissed.
I did not.
I bought into the Azili hype, but like he might have been good if he wasn't so injury prone, right? Like, and we got him pretty cheap. So, and then he never plays a game, and CJ didn't like him. But no, I was pissed at the Evan Turner signing, man. Evan Turner was like Derrick Jones Jr. before I had a YouTube channel.
The money now, just to be clear, the money was absolutely ridiculous. Totally agree. I just thought some of his skill set was going to work well with Dame and CJ. That's what I was hoping. So
it's a dude that can't play off the ball.
Gave us. Well, I know, but I was talking about more of his playmaking and the season that he had previously.
Yeah, like trying to use him as a Draymond. Like that was like the only hope, but it's like he's not anywhere near as good of a passer as Draymond, and he's a 3, not a 4, and he's not absolutely god tier defensively. So basically, you just have Draymond who isn't actually Draymond, which is not good. Evan Turner was one of my least favorite players to watch ever. It was brutal. Anyway, let's do this tankathon thing.
Do it.
So Blazers 9th best odds. We'll see if they can move up. You still have Philadelphia and Milwaukee up there. So we'll scroll up from bottom. 14 Memphis, 13 OKC via the Clippers, 12 is Atlanta via the Lakers, 11 is Detroit moving down a spot. I don't know who moved up, but that means Portland should be at 10, and at 10 is Portland. Wow, Rich. Tough luck, man. Tough luck. The Blazers' first double-digit draft pick on Tankathon in like 3 years.
You're welcome.
At 9 is Washington, 8 is New Orleans, 7 Chicago, 6 Milwaukee to Brooklyn because it's not top 4. 5 is Toronto, which means Philadelphia's up there, Utah's up there. What, Eric? Oh, I thought you said something. At 4 is Utah. At 3 is San Antonio. That's the team that moved up because, of course.
Of course they did.
Yep. If only we beat them today, we would have been 4-5 and moved up. At 2 is Philadelphia, and at 1 is the Orlando Magic. They get Cooper Flag. You know what's funny is like, Eric, let me know if you agree. out of probably all the teams in the lottery right here, Orlando would maybe be my least favorite landing spot for Cooper Flag.
Oh, 100%. I don't think. I mean, obviously they find a way to make it work, but I don't know if he is the best fit with Bankero already established there.
Yeah,
It would be one of my least painful teams to see land Cooper Flag.
Yeah, at least it's in the East. I mean,
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm Orlando and you get Cooper Flag and you got Bankero and you got Wagner, why don't you just actually make Bankero the point guard? And why don't you just like start a lineup where everybody's 6'9" or taller?
Yeah.
You know, like just experiment with that. They would need to figure out the other starter and then a center, and also with how good Jalen Suggs has been this year, like, you know, Pry should start him, especially because he's just phenomenal defensively. He's kind of having a little mini breakout right now, but
That's your boy.
that's my guy, man. That's my guy. His shot's looking better. His defense is absolutely elite.
Todd Clark says odds that Grant is traded before Christmas. I think zilch.
15%.
They're not
15%.
Yeah, I don't think it's zilch, but I think they're going to wait till close to the deadline. But
That's zilch.
I think so. The Lakers got off to a hot start. The JJ Redick rises to the leader and coach of the year odds, and then they've kind of come down to earth a little bit.
Eric, I saw the greatest headline before we started the stream on ESPN.com in the NBA section. It was like the perfect encapsulation. It said, Redick praises LeBron's effort, criticizes entire team. Like, well, isn't that kind of the job description, really?
He had a clip where he like was telling LeBron to shoot the effing ball, so I don't think he's scared of anyone.
That was Gabe Vincent too, I guess.
Yeah. And he benched D'Angelo Russell, like,
Yeah.
dude, but you listen, if these guys are pissing him off, you know Jeremy would piss him off.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Jeremy will shoot the ball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grab an effing rebound would probably be the clip we would see.
Yeah. Grab the effing ball. He'd sound like me. That'd be fun to watch. Yeah,
It's just your Twitter feed is like JJ Redick's outward thoughts.
Yeah, JJ Redick.
What's with the no energy?
Just steal some
Tori,
UConn sets and curse out all your players. Hell yeah.
You know, Tori, if you could turn this podcast thing into a coaching gig, I mean, you know, JJ kind of laid the track for you.
Yeah, somehow I don't think I'm going to be ever as popular as JJ's podcast, unfortunately. I'd have to start covering the NBA, number one, and then I'd have to... No, the whole clout thing, like, be tough, but...
Yeah.
Clippers could use Grant. I mean...
Clippers could use a lot of things right now.
Yeah, like... Dude, they don't have any picks, though.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Oh, Dro is so drunk. Anyway, anything else you guys want to get off your chest before the end of the stream? I'm hungry.
Oh, God. Yes, Eric, anything you would like to get off your chest?
No.
Okay, good.
Do you have something?
No, nothing. Everything's great.
Well, thank you, Rich, for joining us.
Absolutely. It's great to see you guys.
Looking forward to tomorrow's stream. So me and Eric are gonna. We should probably just do it tomorrow. Like before, I don't know.
Have a shot for me for my birthday.
What time is the game tomorrow? Is the question.
Who's tomorrow?
The Blazers play
Probably
tomorrow, so I can have it back.
No, I
6
know.
p.m.
I know that, but I mean, where are we at?
Blazers play at 6 p.m. at Minnesota. We're doing a shot night tomorrow.
Minnesota. Oh,
So what we're gonna do?
we start this hell of a stretch coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. Just because we need
3 of the next 4 against Minnesota.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do, me and Eric, we're gonna draft players before the game, and we're gonna like draft 4 players. Each of us are going to draft 4 players, and whoever's players scored the least amount of points has to take a shot on the post-game show.
Oh.
Like that sort of thing. And we're going to have different categories. And basically,
that's going to be fun.
Yeah, whoever struggles has to, whoever loses in these categories has to take a shot. And we'll probably cap it at like, I'm not doing more than 5, so maybe we'll do 8, 8 categories is a lot because if we 50-50, it's 4 apiece. So we'll probably do like 5 or 6 categories, right? So it's like 2 to 3 shots, 4 if you really suck, which, is
that's a fun fantasy basketball thing. You guys should call that fan drool. Like just whichever one of you does the worst. But well, good luck to both of you. I have been drunk exactly 1 time in my life, so enjoy.
Yeah, that's why we had you on tonight.
Yes,
not tomorrow.
I would have taken a shot. I've taken shots. I've taken probably like maybe 10 shots in my life for other people's birthdays and anniversaries and stuff like that. Drinking just never, for whatever reason. I mean, look, if I'm betting on SMU second half over unders, alcohol probably would not be wise. You know what I'm saying?
Or it makes it better.
Eric's shots have to be with MD 2020.
I have some crap that basically tastes like MD 2020.
No.
Do you know what MD 2020 is, Rich?
Mad Dog. Yeah, Mad Dog 2020.
You know Mad Dog? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know of it.
Did you hear the stream where Tori DoorDash Mad Dog 2020?
No.
It was hilarious. God. I don't even know how it came up. Someone in chat mentioned it.
You brought it up. You peer pressured me into getting Mad Dog.
And this guy literally door dashed it, but he ended up getting the 13% one, not the 20% alcohol volume one. So
I was super scared to try it, and it looked like a freaking the color of blue it is just looks like chemicals. Kind of smells like chemicals, but it honestly was not as bad as I was expecting. I was scared, and it was like, yeah. So I got the weak version apparently, but I was already drunk. So it wasn't.
Matt says they're all 13% now. That's so weak.
Yeah. Matt loves his Mad Dog, man.
Tori, so first and foremost, congratulations on your new place.
Thanks, man.
And congratulations on your relationship. I think that's awesome that you guys moved in together. So what is one thing that has been kind of like a revelation from living with someone?
Wow, that's a great question to end the stream on. Revelation.
Almost like life advice.
I love life advice, Eric, and since we're not getting it
from
I thought I would
a revelation in terms of moving out in general, or a revelation.
No, about living, living with a partner, either about just the process itself or something reflective about yourself.
I mean,
or just how are you enjoying it, experiencing it, all of that?
There was honestly no revelation because I stayed with her enough to where it wasn't anything new. Beforehand I stayed with her enough. So it wasn't anything it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. Eric says laundry. The thing is, our washing machine was moldy, and we just got it replaced. So we didn't even have one for the longest time. So finally got a washing machine in here. Finally built our dining table, but it one of the little legs won't go on is messed up. So it's the revelation has been struggling with actually setting up what we need and how expensive all this furniture is and that sort of thing. So that's been the revelation for me, because I was I can't wait to move out. We get to have actual house. And then it's I still don't feel like I've fully moved in yet.
Can I end this stream on a story? Since we're talking about moving in with somebody, this made me think of something. So there was a time I was dating this girl. We've been together for about 6 months in Los Angeles.
You moved in after 6 months. That's wild.
No, I'm not saying that, Tori. Christmas time came, and I had to go back to West Virginia to see my family. I was home for like 3 weeks. And so I gave my girlfriend at the time my keys so she could pick up my mail and, collect my mail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I come back from West Virginia. Oh, I'm sorry. While I was gone, she gave me a call and said, hey, the power went out at my place and it's really cold. Do you mind if I spend the night at your place? And so on and so forth. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I come back in town. She picks me up at LAX. I get home and she was like, I think she ran to go get us something to eat because I got in pretty late. And I go to put my suitcase under my bed and it just kind of like, and I'm like, what is that? And I lift up and they're just like shoes all along my bed. And it was like a horror film. I was like, oh! And then I go to the closet and like, oh my God. Like and she had moved in while I was gone. And then when she got back with the food, we had to have a conversation that did not go very well. I was like,
You were ready for that?
No, I was not. I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to go home. Like
So that end things?
your place. It ultimately ended things, yes. But I mean, the relationship lasted a couple more months. But yes, she basically didn't. She thought it was gonna be like not talking to your pitcher in the middle of a no-hitter. If I could just maybe not say anything and just let this thing happen, he'll just let it happen.
Like a squatter.
Yes, exactly.
She was testing you to see if you were a pushover.
So that was not a good situation. So I had to do the Dikembe in that situation. So,
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's wild.
so just to finish up for me, thank you to everybody in chat. It was great to see everybody. Hopefully I'll get things squared away with, all the stuff that I'm dealing with and get back and doing Ripsy Retro episodes and getting together with Eric. But regardless of that, this has been a great birthday present. It's great to see everybody in chat. Tori, it's great to see you. Congrats on your place. Eric, it's always great to talk to you too. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for jumping on with me. It was fun.
Yep.
Yep, and we discovered we can switch over the stream pretty easily, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
So that was something I always wanted to test because I don't think we've done that before. I'm not sure, but yeah. So we can hand off the stream. But yeah, we'll be live again tomorrow night, and that should be a fun stream for reasons we've talked about. So hopefully you guys can join us after the Blazers take on the Timberwolves. Hopefully they don't get absolutely destroyed. I kind of want a fun game at least, but we'll have to wait and see, and that will be a fun stream going into the weekend. And then we have a Sunday stream. I feel like we have a lot of Sunday streams.
Yeah.
But the good news is the last Sunday game was on K2, so if you guys have been struggling to watch games or that sort of thing, then that one could be on K2. Also, it's giveaway night, so stay tuned tomorrow for some chances to win a spin on the giveaway wheel. I'll switch a couple of the spaces. I don't even know where I put that. I think I put it in my closet, but yeah, we'll have another giveaway stream. And we got merch that we're gonna launch like late in the month. So people on our last giveaway stream won free merch, and that'll launch later this month. Probably last week of November after Thanksgiving.
Do you know who won the Sharp IG post? Ask Brendan.
Not sure. I have not looked at it yet, so we'll see. But yeah, if you guys aren't paying attention to our Twitter, to our Instagram, to our TikTok, go follow those, because there's chances to win things, and we're going to do more content. We've rolled it out slowly because, Krish has been kicking the tires on some graphics stuff that he was going to make me, that I'm having him help us with. So, but he's a very busy guy, so I don't blame him. He's a great designer. That's why I'm helping him, or having him help us. But yeah, we're going to have a lot more Twitter stuff in the future, and Instagram stuff, TikTok stuff, that sort of thing. And then I'm going to work on getting some of these graphics coded. So we're still building it out, everything that we're doing this season as the season goes along. So we'll continue to add. We'll continue to have fun. We'll continue to have different event nights, giveaway night on Sunday, call-in night next Wednesday will be cool. That sort of stuff. So anyway, Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Like the stream on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. Shout Bet US. All that good stuff.
Peace out. Peace out.
I'm getting there. And shout out to Rich for. I was gonna shout you out, and you cut me off. But
Wow.
shout out.
It's tradition.
It is tradition. It is. Shout out to you and your tradition. Shout out to Rich for joining us. Shout out to Eric for running the stream the first half. And looking forward to tomorrow night. Have a good rest of your guys' Thursday night. And until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.